Welcome back to Architectural Adventures, brought to you by Historic Springfield Society. I'm your host, Kylie. Thanks for joining me as we tour Springfield's architectural curiosities. Today, I want to show you two different types of exterior doors that you may encounter while wandering around Historic Springfield. The first set of doors that we're going to look at is a little bit more unusual, but it's definitely worth taking a look at. So there are approximately 12 sets of double front doors in Historic Springfield. This, however, is the only set of double front doors that has these side lights on either side. Now, when I say double front doors, I do want to clarify that I don't mean duplexes. So here, we can see that these double doors actually share the same frame and they go into the same room. Whereas with a duplex, each double set of doors goes to different units of the home. So this home was originally built by Elizabeth Lizzie McCollum around 1904, and she lived here with her son, daughter-in-law, and daughter, and she would take in boarders, which is a very common practice around the turn of the century for widowed women. However, like many Springfield homes, it followed a similar trajectory where it had many residents over the years, and eventually it was turned into a duplex. So it ended up with two different doors. Around 2001, the house sat boarded up and vacant, and it's around that time that Christy and her then husband encountered it. At that time, Christy described it as a haunted house, so it was in deep need of some love. In the process of restoration, one of the important things was returning the house from a duplex back to its original single-family status. And one of the very important characteristics that Christy wanted to restore was the original front door. They were fortunate enough to find this beautiful salvage antique door down in Florida Victorian Salvage in DeLand, Florida, and it was brought all the way back up here to Jacksonville. Some very important characteristics that I want to point out. If you notice, there's this lovely beveled edge of glass around the edge of all of the glass. This is done to create dimension, and then when the light hits it just right, there's a beautiful glimmer, just lovely. And then another very important feature on this door is the hardware. So the hardware on an antique front door on an old house is very important. Think of it as your first touch point with the house. It's where you get very acquainted with it. It's essentially the handshake with the home. And this knob is certainly a very well-appointed historic knob. So this hardware is by Sargent & Company, and it's their Royalston pattern, which was made from 1901 to 1910. And if you look here, it's very indicative of the Edwardian era. We've got that turn-of-the-century classical revival motif with the lovely beaded edge around the perimeter of the knob, and then we have that beading repeated on the escutcheon plate. Very lovely, and it's very period appropriate for this home. So now that we've looked at this set of double doors, I want to look at a door that's more common around Historic Springfield that you might see more often. Now I'd like to show you a door style that you'll encounter much more often in Historic Springfield. So this style of door is known as a cottage style door, and it was actually marketed that way in millwork catalogs back around the turn of the century. Now, this style door was very popular in the late 1800s, and that popularity continued through until about 1915. This is what is called a 2/3 glass door because the glass comprises 2/3 of the door, and then you might have a 1/3 glass cottage style door, in which case the glass is more than likely centered, and then there will be decorative panels surrounding that pane of glass. Right here, this element is known as a drip ledge, and it frames the bottom part of the glass. And then this one, once again, we have that influence from the colonial revival creeping in at this point in time. We have this lovely banding of dental work at the bottom, and it's so called because it resembles actual rows of teeth. On a lot of cottage style doors, there's a wide variety of inset panels at the bottom. So sometimes you'll have, like this door, we have some squares, but you'll have a wide variety of rectangles, squares, all sorts of geometric designs that add interest. And then this piece of hardware here is what is known as a shepherd's crook. So this hardware dates to about 1917 is when it began to become common. And then by the 1920s, this hardware would become ubiquitous for colonial revival style and craftsman style homes. It became very popular, and this style of hardware remains popular to this day. I guess you could say it's rather timeless. We hope that this video about doors didn't make you come too unhinged. Thank you so much for watching, and on behalf of HSS, we would like to personally thank Bev and Mickey Miller for graciously allowing us to film their beautiful home. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.